is coming off behind us, and looks like they just broke loose because they're way far away from us now and they shouldn't be. And the boat down here at the end should be level with us, so we're bending. That dock just broke off behind us. M dock, Aqualand. Oh my God, please stop. Billy's boat just broke loose. Stop. Oh, hold together, hold together. Hold together, hold together. Hold together. Oh my God, the waves will not stop.
Hello, happy boaters. Well, I have a dilemma. Well, no, I don't have a dilemma because I've made a decision. But I'm going to let you guys know what my dilemma was and the decision that I've made. A couple of weeks ago, we had a really bad storm here at Lake Lanier where I keep my boat, and unfortunately, it damaged a lot of docks, including mine. As a matter of fact, of all the docks that were damaged, I think mine was probably the worst. A lot of boats got damaged. Unfortunately, I did sustain some damage, but fortunately, it was not severe damage. But I do have to decide, or I have decided, what I'm going to do about it. The damage that I sustained, it's up on the port bow, just a little bit above the waterline. Got some nasty gouges in the gel coat. Some of it actually goes all the way to the fiberglass. Nothing goes all the way through, so no water is coming in. But the fact that I have exposed fiberglass does present an issue. If nothing is done about it in a pretty quick fashion, moisture can get in, and if you get moisture in below your gel coat into the fiberglass, that can eventually lead to weakening your hull and lead to some pretty nasty stuff. So I really don't want that to happen. So my dilemma was pull it out now, find somebody to make the repair work now, which probably means it's the end of my boating season. Unfortunately, unlike places like Florida, around here, this time of year, it's pretty hard to find somebody to work on your boat, especially somebody good, and especially after something like this has happened where you've got a bunch of people needing to get their boats fixed. So that was one option. I'm not taking that option. The other option was to basically do some patchwork myself to make sure that it remains protected so I can get the rest of my boating season in, and then later on when things slow down a bit, I can go ahead and have somebody do it the right way. Full disclosure, I know a lot about boats. I do a lot of working on boats, but I don't do gel coat. So this is definitely something that is new to me, and I'm going to be learning this as I go. I don't expect the job to be perfect, and I don't expect it to look like it was professionally done. But what I do expect is it's going to be something that actually helps keep my boat protected until I actually am ready for a professional to do the job for me. So the other thing is I'm going to do it while it's in the water. So I'm going to do it from a rubber raft. So that's going to make it a challenge too. So let's see how this goes. Okay, so before we get started, I want to talk about the materials that I got to go ahead and do this this job that we're about to do here. So just picked up a few things. Most of them I was actually able to get either on Amazon, West Marine, Walmart, so on and so forth. They're not really that hard to find. First of all, of course, the first thing I wanted to do is get some Dixie cups. This is what we're going to be using to mix the gel coat as well as the patching solution in. You can buy cups that actually already have ounce markings on them, but we just took the cups and put markings on it for 2 ounces and 4 ounces. We're going to be mixing this in small batches at a time, so that's why we just have several cups marked like that. Have to have some popsicle sticks so we can actually do the mixing. We'll be putting the gel coat on with a paintbrush, and of course we've got to have a knife with some razor blades. There's a knife right there. Obviously, we have to have the gel coat. Again, West Marine, Amazon, you'll be able to easily find this. You have the gel coat as well as a hardener. You'll see that later on. And because some of the gouges that I have are actually a little deep, I went ahead and got some filler as well. So we'll put the filler on there first, we'll sand that down, and then we'll actually go with the gel coat. Some painter's tape, just to tape off the area that we're actually going to be working with. Some acetone that we can actually use to clean the area so that we don't have any grease or any wax on it, and so on and so forth. We need to have something to spread the filler on, so that's what we have here. Various grades of sandpaper, because of course we want to get everything sanded down. We will be using a sander, by the way, so I don't have that in the picture here, but we're going to be using that. It will make the job a little bit easier. And we also have some Mylar. After we put the gel coat on there, we'll put the Mylar on to make sure that it remains nice and smooth while it's curing. So those are all the tools that we have today. So the next thing we're going to do is get in there and take a look at what we have. Okay, so this is the damage that we have here. We've got, most of it is just gel coat damage, but as you can see right here, we've definitely got some gouges that actually go all the way through to the fiberglass. It doesn't go through the fiberglass, but you can see the fiberglass. So we definitely need to make sure that we do this right so that that still remains structurally sound. We are going to have to remove some of this striping in order to get this done. Obviously that means that section of striping that we remove, I'll have to get that done at some point later on, which maybe I'll cover in another video when I do that. So, but right now let's go ahead and start by getting rid of some striping here. So I'm just going to start right here and see if I can start slowly picking or scraping that off. It's going to be a challenge. So what we're going to do is we're going to clean up this area really well. We want to make sure that we get all the dust off, that there isn't any wax left on here, grease, anything like that, because when we go over this with the filler and the gel coat, we want to make sure that it adheres really well. So there we go. Make sure that's nice and clean. We're going to put this rag in here to make sure it soaks up any left that's in the cup. Again, we don't want that spilling, so. And of course, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and tape this area off with some painter's tape. We use painter's tape because, of course, it's going to release easily when we want to get rid of it, but it helps us to kind of mark the area that we're working on and make sure we don't lose track of that. So it's going to be a nice wide strip right there. Oops, not quite there. There we go. That's nice. Okay, we're going to go ahead and mix the filler. The interesting thing is the instructions actually don't tell you how much of the cream hardener needs to be mixed with the filler, so we're actually going to have to guess at that piece. And we're also doing it in the raft because of the fact that apparently this stuff it sets pretty quickly, so I want to make sure that I have as much time as possible to be able to actually put it into the damaged area there. So I'm going to go ahead and open up my popsicle sticks. Oops, there you go. Get a few of those out, probably more than a few. Then I'll open up the filler and we'll mix a little bit, and if it turns out we need more than we initially mixed, then we'll just mix a little bit more. So we'll just kind of go that route until we get it all done. So let's put that over here, and it's nice and creamy there. I don't know, almost looks like guacamole, maybe something like that. So, but all this, it does mention that you shouldn't mix it on anything porous like cardboard or a paper plate or something. So that's why I'm using a plastic plate here. I'm not 100% sure that it's not going to react with this plastic plate, but it's a plate that I obviously am not going to use for anything else. So like I said, I'm just going to guess as to how much hardener, since the instructions don't specify. And you need to mix for 1 to 2 minutes, so I'll be mixing this for just a little bit before we're ready to actually start putting it to work here. So you have to be patient. Make sure that you get it mixed all the way. I guess once it's all done, we should have a nice consistent shade of puke green when this is all done here. So it's one way to find out, by looking at the color, to find out whether you've mixed it properly or not. So looks like it might be mixed up pretty good. I'll grab my spreader and I'll just take little bits at a time. From a filler standpoint, I think we are in pretty good shape. And this will take 30 minutes or so to set, and we'll come back, we'll do a little bit more sanding again, and we'll clean it up with some acetone again, and that should look relatively smooth. And again, it won't be perfect because it doesn't need to be, because we're going to go over it with gel coat at that point, and then with the gel coat, after the gel coat, we'll actually sand it several times with multiple grades of sandpaper and hopefully get a pretty decent shine on it. So we'll come back in about 30 minutes. Okay, it looks like that is pretty much cured pretty well there. It's nice and hard. So we're gonna go ahead and sand that filler down a little bit, get it relatively smooth. We'll clean it off again, and then we'll put the gel coat on. Oh no, that's pretty nice. That's what we're looking for there. Okay. Now, we're just gonna do an initial white down. That's decent. That's decent. Okay. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and mix the gel coat. I am going to start by mixing 4 ounces. That might be enough to do the whole job. We shall see. Let's see if I can. There we go. I'm going to try to be as careful as I can. I really don't want to spill any of this in the raft here. Just going to shake this just a little bit just to make sure that it's well mixed before I pour it out and start adding the hardener. And if you're not familiar with gel coat, basically the way that it works is it's a 2-part. You have the actual gel coat itself that we have right here. There is the hardener that we have right here. I'm going to pour that gel coat into the cup, and then I'll add the hardener. And once you do that and thoroughly mix it, that begins the process. So you have a limited amount of time to get it on there. Now I'm lucky my hull is white, so it's pretty easy to order or get white gel coat. However, if your hull is another color, then you have to worry about colorizing your gel coat and hopefully getting it matched. And that can be a little bit more challenging. Otherwise, you will end up with more than one color. Okay, so for 4 ounces, based on the temperature and the amount of hardener that you need to add and how long it's going to take to harden really depends on the temperature. So for this gel coat, when the temperature is between 80 and 90, which is where it is, I need to add, for this amount, for 4 ounces, I need to add 64 drops. There we go. All right. Now we'll put the cap back on the hardener, and we will commence to mixing. It looks good. It looks just like paint, which is pretty much what we're looking for. All right. So now, with gel coat, you could use a roller. You can use a paintbrush. I've even seen people use those spongy type paintbrushes. I'm not sure what you call them, but you just want something that's actually going to put it on there nice and smooth. So hopefully not get it too messy. Could have chosen either. Initially, I'm just kind of putting it on willy-nilly, if you will, just to get the areas covered. But after I've done that, then I'm going to focus on making it look really nice. Right now, we are looking for coverage.
take this Mylar and use that to help flatten it out and keep it flat while it cures. So we're just gonna lay these sheets on here. We're gonna smooth them out in just a minute, but right now we wanna get them on here. Get them on there. There we go. There we go. Get them on there. And looks like we got one more piece. I want to get on there. There we go.
I was like, oh, showers.
That's what I was thinking. Can you run some water in there?
Now we'll take this.
My wife likes this.
We'll smooth it out. Oops. There we go. There we go. And this will kind of help flatten it for you. So when it does come time to sand later on, it'll be a little bit easier. Still need to sand it, but you just won't need to sand it quite as much. Okay, the gel coat is actually cured quite nicely, nice and hard. I just pulled the Mylar off, and it just peeled off really easy. It's no big deal at all. So the next thing that I'm going to do right now is I'm going to go ahead and do a little bit of sanding. Starting off with a coarse sandpaper to do the initial smoothness, and then we'll actually go down to lighter and lighter and lighter coarseness as we go to see what we end up with. So here we go.
Well, there you have it. All of that work, and I ended up with a big white Band-Aid on the side of my boat. But I did get accomplished what I wanted to get accomplished. Again, my main purpose was to simply protect the boat to make sure that no further damage could occur before I'm able to actually take it out of the water and get it done the right way. So I did get all that done, and I'm actually very happy with that. I learned a few things in the process as well. Number one, gel coat's not as easy as it seems, especially doing it from a rubber raft while the boat's still in the water. That was definitely a challenge. That was one of the biggest challenges I had is trying to keep the raft in place while doing the work on the boat itself. So, but again, allowed me to get what I needed to get done. Of course, also realized that, okay, my boat isn't white. It looks white when there's nothing pure white right next to it, but apparently it's not white. So that's pretty evident once you put a pure white gel coat on there. So again, that'll be corrected when I take it out and get everything done correctly. So, but it was a fun adventure. Glad I was able to get it done, and you know, I still get to extend my boating season, so I'm very happy about that. A big thanks to Watts on Wheels for allowing me to use some of their footage from the storm early in the video there. I am going to put a link to their YouTube page or their YouTube channel down here, so if you guys want to take a look at the entire video, you can do that. They've also got some really cool videos and stuff if you're really into RVing and camping, and they've got some boating stuff up there too. Thanks so much, and happy boating.